I took the Python code, played it on the CSV file, and then the change was there. And after 1 hour, I sent back the file to my accountant, and he just called me on the phone saying, "Yeah, it works. Like I just already did. The work is done." And so I never learned coding. Now I am teaching this like Python in a course, but you don't need to learn how to code. You just need to have a logical mind to know what are the step-by-step process to change something, and then you can automate it.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I also think that, I mean, ChatGPT in its current version now is very good and it has masses of applications, right? And I know we've discussed this as well, but I think we're going to start seeing more narrow use cases for different types of AI as well. So we've spoken about the documents, whether it's Petal or Humata, they're AI models that are specifically optimized to be able to digest really long documents, because that's always been a limitation, right? You've only got so much memory in that chat for it to be able to understand lots and lots of information. And I hit this recently, and I'm surprised, to be fair, because I spend so much time on it that I don't push its limits more often. And I suppose that's just a testament to how good these tools are now. But I spend some time in the car, so I travel a little bit, and I can't work whilst I'm in the car because I'll crash, right? But what I can do is I can talk to myself. And this was inspired by, and this was ages ago before AI really kicked off. I've always used Notion, the notepad. And there's a dude that I followed, and I forget his name, otherwise I'd plug it because he's really good. And he provides instructions on how to use Notable better, automation, workflows, and all of that sort of stuff.
Not
potentially, yeah, potentially. But he was doing some cool stuff, and it was a little bit technical for me at the time because it was before AI really took off. And he was using, I think it was called, I can't remember the name, but it was similar to make.com or Zapier. It was basically like an integration platform, but it was specifically for more code rather than sort of low code stuff. Yeah. And what he did is he set up a Dropbox folder where he could drop in an audio file of his dictated notes, and then the automation would pick up the audio file. It would then use, at the time, the OpenAI Whisper model, which was specifically for audio. Speech recognition, yeah. And I think ChatGPT 4 has just got that built in now because it can recognize audio, and you can talk to it on your phone now. A lot of people don't realize that. You can actually dictate to ChatGPT.
I do that with my kids. I can explain
it talks back to you, doesn't it? Anyway, so it decoded and it transcribed, and then the prompt said, basically split it into post ideas, give me some normal ideas, but then also give me some really alternative ideas as well. And he was getting it to sort of do that sort of expansion piece that we spoke about there with critical thinking, to take it past just his notes and actually give him more ideas as a result. And it worked really well. But at the time I thought, I don't have time. Like, there's a lot of setup there, and I just I can't do it, right? Yeah. Anyway, a couple of days ago, I was thinking, actually, with GPT-4 now, it's got audio recognition, and we've got GPT, so we can build bots, right? So I was speaking to myself in the car, dictating my notes, and I was just using the Google Recorder, which actually transcribes. So Google will do the transcription for you, which is really cool. So I've got the audio, which I don't need because I can just use the transcript instead. So I don't need to use any sort of Whisper speech recognition stuff or upload audio to ChatGPT. And I thought, right, the conversation was all sorts of stuff. So there were some tasks for the team that I needed to not forget about. There was some more strategic stuff in there. But then as I was talking, I had some inspiration for different posts and content. And I also started dictating the start of a newsletter that may or may not end up in the AI Finance Club. You don't know. But anyway, the prompt said, look at this transcript, pull out the tasks for my team, pull out all of my content ideas, and then give me the dictated newsletter at the end of the audio file. And it couldn't do it. But no, it couldn't do it. So, and I know why it is now. So firstly, the transcript was really long.
Yeah, that's when too much data.
So that was a limitation. But in trying to create the GPT, I was asking it to do 3 different things. So I was asking it to create
Yeah.
tasks. I was asking it to relay my content
Smart.
ideas, and I think I was confusing it. Whereas I think if I'd said, right, well, actually, I will have one prompt for the tasks, one prompt for the content, and one prompt for the dictation, it would have worked a lot better. Now, I think that'll improve in the future because it will get better. But for anybody that's tried this sort of stuff, my recommendation off the back of my learning is that maybe you chunk up the task that you want it to do, but also change your workflow maybe. And this is an important point as well, because we need to challenge the way that we work and the way that we think. Because actually, me dictating on my phone and merging everything together and talking about a load of different things wasn't the best way to get the output. If instead I'd said to myself, right, my first dictation is going to be tasks, my second dictation is going to be content, I could have just had a couple of shorter transcripts with dedicated prompts for each of those. So that's what I'm going to do now. But we live and we learn, right? So yeah, started to push the limitations, but I think that won't be a problem in 6 months' time because we'll have a longer context window. It will be a more intelligent model, maybe GPT-5, who knows? But just a little story there. I don't know whether you've come up against anything similar where you've really started pushing things, as you said, then maybe just because there's a bit too much data.
Yeah. So here, 2-3 thoughts on that. First, I heard that already, like people basically like putting their thoughts while they walk in like recording, and then after like working on their thoughts. So I think that's really smart. What you need to have is, like you describe, a system. What I will do is, if I have one recording, I will put really for myself a placeholder where I say, really on the audio, now I'm going to talk about X. So now I'm going to talk about my newsletter. Please take that in account. And then I will start talking. And like this, I can, after chunk the work where I say, okay, you do first, like you separate in 3 or 5 mini script based on the start and the end. And so now each script, either I will send them to a GPT that analyze specifically my newsletter and will write it, or a GPT that can create a content based on text, or a GPT that can allocate tasks to a team. My experience as well with GPTs, you can, once you play with the GPT, and you say, okay, actually, I don't want that, I want something else, and you build it, it changes constantly the description and the instruction of the GPT. So if you just wanted to change, oh, now I want to use bullet points instead of long sentences, somehow the GPT will rechange what you said at the beginning, and not only on the sentence. It will say, okay, now you are more focused on the writing than on the content. And I found that in the discussion with your GPT, so when you're already inside, not building it, you say, oh, you can say to the GPT, I'm not really happy about the response. I would have expected something like this. Propose me different instructions that will improve the GPT in this way. And now compare left to right in a table, the older instruction and the new one that you propose. Like this, you can compare each paragraph, and you can take what you want from it, and you don't have to change everything you want to keep. And I have done it this way, and it's much better. But I think still, if you want to do 3 things with one GPT, you get into trouble. It's better to get 3 different bots, because it's too limited right now and too ambitious to get a GPT doing 3 different specific tasks.
And for the listeners that aren't aware of what GPTs are, and it's not really a good name, is it? Really, I see why they've done it, but it doesn't really.
They should have made bots.
Yeah, should have called it bots. Yeah, that's it. So just a quick description then. So ChatGPT 3 obviously gives you access to the chat. And what you can also do is you can add custom instructions. You just go into the settings, click on custom instructions, and then you can set the context. So you can give a background on, who you are, the sort of company you work for, and then you can also tell the free version of ChatGPT how you want it to respond within those custom instructions. But the problem is, if I want ChatGPT to then work in a different way, I've got to copy and paste different custom instructions every time I want it to produce different outputs, and that becomes very manual. So what OpenAI did with GPT-4 is they released GPTs, which are essentially just specific bots with their own custom instructions for specific purposes. So we mentioned something like an Excel formula bot previously. That would be an example of a pre-trained GPT. So just for people that maybe weren't following there, all a GPT is a chat interface with a set of instructions with a specific end goal. And what we're saying there is, and you're quite right, and it seems so obvious now, is the model isn't yet intelligent enough to be able to do lots of different tasks with lots of different end results in one bot. You're better splitting it up, as we've said, so that the bot has a specific function so that it can produce the best possible output. So that's fair.
Actually, on GPTs, what is interesting, and this week on Tuesday, we had our first masterclass for the AI Finance Club. And like we really thought that the people who already had GPT-4, they knew about GPTs and that they already even started to build their own one. And even if, so we were like 20 in the class, Christian, who was teaching with me, was explaining how to do it. And then we asked, okay, like who has GPT-4, who has GPT 3.5? So more than half had GPT-4. So they went with Christian, and the other half, they stayed with me, and we did what GPT-4 can do in bots. We did it with 3.5 with agent prompting. And then I asked Christian, so like how many did use GPTs? And nobody knew, like they heard a bit, but nobody used it. So actually it's underrated right now. And people, I hope when they listen to the podcast, they will come back to us and say, okay, where can I find that? And what are the best GPTs? Because the problem as well, you don't have a marketplace now to find them. So you need a directory for this. And I've done that for the AI Finance Club. I have like 100 of GPTs focused on finance. You have one GPT for tax. You have one GPT for SEC. You have one GPT for Power BI. Actually, I have 20. But so I've collected like 100, and some about Excel, Power Query, some are for FP&A, some for data analysis, some for SAP. So you find like a lot of SAPs, and you don't even need to create your own. You can start by using others to get ideas on how GPT
and if you're
works.
looking for a little bit of inspiration and you don't have ChatGPT Pro, you can go to poe.com, because the homepage on Poe is a load of bots that other people have created. So that can give you inspiration. There's actually a data bot on Poe. I've not used it. I don't know how good it is, but that's meant to be for data analysis. But it was quite funny in the webinar. There's also a stable diffusion one, which is an image generator. So when we switched over to Poe, I said something like, produce me an image of a finance professional watching a webinar on AI in finance, and it was a really terrible image because it was a really rubbish prompt, but it was a bit of fun. So if you're looking for inspiration, you can go there. But yeah, we'll put links in the show notes. I've got a bit of a database as well that I'm building with some links to some of the ones that I've been working on. It's still not perfect. They need, as Nicolas said, the next iteration. So how can we improve that base prompt? But I know Christian, and we've mentioned him a couple of times. That's Christian Martinez, who's finance automation manager at Kraft Heinz and also one of the experts in the AI and Finance Club. I think he's got a bit of a list as well. He did a post on it, I think, a couple of weeks ago. So I'm sure he's got a few too. Quick one, guys. I'd like to take a moment to invite you to the AI Finance Club. The AI Finance Club isn't just another professional group. It's a dedicated platform to help finance pros integrate AI into their work. Now, with AI revolutionizing every aspect of business, staying up to date and building AI skills is no longer an option if you don't want to get left behind. So with a membership, every month you'll receive a live workshop with industry experts, including me, to help you apply AI in practical finance scenarios. You'll get an in-depth review of the latest AI tools tailored for finance, so you know what works best. You'll get customized AI prompts to help transform the way that you work, curated news and updates on AI advancements in the finance sector, and deep dives into AI in finance processes to help optimize your finance operations. Now, personally, I do believe that a hive mind approach to learning works wonders. So on top of what I've already mentioned, you will have access to a community chat where you can connect, share, and learn from a network of finance professionals who are all embracing AI together. Now, as a Tech for Finance listener, you'll receive 10% off your first annual subscription, plus you'll receive free access to the entire ChatGPT for Finance course, both the videos and written guides. Now, to take advantage of this offer, go to techforfinance.com/AI and enter the code ADAM100 at checkout. Once again, that's techforfinance.com/AI with the code Adam100 at checkout. See you there.
And you mentioned about using image. So that's something as well where initially I was okay, like that's funny, but why, and how can it help finance? And then because I always try to find for finance people how you can use technology the best way, it can actually help a lot. I don't know if you use it for finance, but you can use image generation, for example, to generate icons for your presentation. So like this, you don't have to search it. And Christian gave me this tip actually. What I showed Christian is how to use image generation to get a mock-up of a dashboard, or how to use image generation to get a mock-up of a slide. Especially if you are like, okay, what is the best way to show that we have a headcount increase, but no salary increase? Like to show that basically young people came and old people left. And so like this, even if you have more people, you get the same salary because a lot of high salaries left. And you ask that to ChatGPT first on like, you work together on what will be the best visualization. And then you ask what will be the best prompt to generate this in DALL-E. And then you can see how to visualize that. And after you can ask, okay, how can I do that in PowerPoint or in Excel? And basically, again, you get much faster and much more creative because you have a tool that augments your idea. But you first need to have the idea, okay, how can I show that? Because I think it's one element I want to show to my management, because the question will come, how come we have more people, but there is no salary increase? And that's a good way to use image generation to help you see what are the best way to visualize information.
And you can do it the other way around as well, because ChatGPT can now understand images if you upload images. So the first one I think I sent you, Nicolas, was I just found a screenshot of a really rubbish presentation slide online. It was very busy. It didn't say anything. I just took a screenshot and I uploaded it to ChatGPT and I said, this is a slide from a presentation aimed at non-finance professionals. Can you give me some guidance on what could be improved? And it gave a lot of guidance because it was rubbish. And it said, chunk down your concepts, maybe have 3 slides instead. So it was using almost like human eyes to give guidance. But the most recent use case I've seen for that is actually when we want AI to produce, say, a spreadsheet or a matrix for us, we could already have an example. So we could have an example structure. So we could take a screenshot of a spreadsheet and say, this is the format of the spreadsheet. Can you help me with this? And then instead of you having to explain, these are the columns that I want and these are the rows that I want, you can just upload the image and it will recreate that because it understands what it sees. And then the other thing that I did the other day, and it's slightly different. So I do quite a lot of work with ERP and finance systems, one called Sage Intacct. And there's a couple of different ways you can set up Intacct. So you can do like a fast start, which, you just take it out of the box, or we can do a configured, which is more like maybe like an SAP implementation when you configure it around your business processes. But the documentation is pretty poor. So it's quite technical. It's just, 5 stages, and it's just got, like business process reviews and then blueprinting and then build and go live and user testing, all that sort of stuff. It wasn't really enough to create some usable content from. So what I did is I recorded myself talking through those implementation approaches. Then I took screenshots of the data that I already had because I didn't have it in Word format, it was just in PDF. And I said, here's the two implementation approaches. I uploaded the images, I uploaded the transcript of me talking through the images, and I said, based on the images and the transcript, please can you create me bullet points with some really decent wording behind those different approaches. So that is a real life example of where that multimodality, i.e. being able to use images, documents, and chat in one to produce some really high quality results that I could then go on to edit and check without me having to start writing from scratch. And it was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I mean, if I don't understand when you hear somebody like you saying how you use it, how can somebody not jump on it and just see that they are missing out
Yeah.
on so much? And I mean, it's just the first year on top. It's the first year of big usage, but for us who are not coders, who are not, we like tech, but we are not. I will say like we didn't learn AI at school. We are not data scientists with 10 years of coding behind us. But now that we don't need to code anymore, but we have access to these possibilities, the so much possibilities to create value alone or with a small team, and that is even in finance. I don't know if I explained you that, but 2 weeks ago, my accountant came to me and said, "Well, there is this 80 CSV files, so comma separated value files. And if you want me to upload that in the accounting system, so I get my revenue in the accounting system, well, it will cost me 1 week of work, and I pay him like $80 because it's a public accountant." So I'm like, okay, give me 1 hour. I come back to you. I think I have a solution. And what I did is I used Python and ChatGPT together to first the 80 files, just combine them in one. So like this, one upload. And then something that I would have done maybe 6 months, 12 months ago, where I will have created some Excel formulas, some filter that to add the columns that were missing, to change some of the data, to filter out some of the specific lines based on one criteria. Well, I did that with ChatGPT, explaining my thoughts, the logics, and I think after 4 or 5 steps, we had a perfect, I would say, process on changing the data. And I asked, now give me that in Python. I took the Python code, played it on the CSV file, and then the change was there. And after 1 hour, I sent back the file to my accountant, and he just called me on the phone saying, "Yeah, it works. Like I just already did. The work is done." And so I never learned coding. I just I just now I am teaching this like Python in a course, but you don't need to learn how to code. You just need to have a logical mind to know what are the step-by-step process to change something, and then you can automate
You
everything.
just need to know what questions to ask. And it's a theme that I keep coming back to in every conversation that I have. You know, we now live in a world, especially as humans, where that skill on asking better questions, whether you're asking a question to a human or whether you're asking a question to an AI, it's going to be no different anymore. You know, ask a better question, get a better result. You know,
Yeah, I needed to ask my accountant, okay, like tell me exactly the column you need, the text, and which data do you need inside or not. And I need to explain what type of feedback I needed. And we were like, I spent quite a lot of time myself to understand the system. So I could figure out, okay, what is the best way to change the data so we have like a long-term solution and not just a one-shot. And like you said, if I would not have done this exercise, the solution will not have been also easy in 1 hour. I needed first to capture this
and now
information.
you know, and then you can just iterate on that. So you just keep on getting better, right?
Yeah.
So, but I'm conscious that we're coming up to time, but I do want to talk about the AI in Finance Club because I think it's really interesting. So it's quite new. Was it a month now or something like that? So,
No, it's open since 1st of December.
oh,
It's a
not even.
baby project. Not baby, like it should not call like this, but like it's just open since
Okay.
15
So
days.
do you
Yes.
just want to take us through what the thought process was? You know, why start a club? Why not just continue to do the corporate training and the consulting and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, so I will still do a corporate training where I teach 2 hours how to
Mhm.
use AI in finance to companies. But what I noticed over the last month, AI is
Yeah.
changing so much. Like we just talked about how between April and now ChatGPT changed, and also how the people change. They learn more. They open their eyes on what is possible. So they have also different questions. And I felt frustrated that the people I trained in June, well, there is so much that happened since then that I cannot give
Mm,
them again like an update on what is happening. And also, like your course, you have always to update them to refresh. So doing a course that will be valid for the next 2 years or 3 years is not
mm,
possible with AI. And on the other hand, more and more people were coming to me and say, okay, I love the course, I love the energy, I loved also to be around other
mm,
finance people who get it, who understand the importance of AI, who understand technology, and to exchange with them on the possibilities on how to use
mhm,
AI in finance. So when I heard all of this, I was okay. I need to create something where I use my network with
mhm,
all of the experts, because myself alone, I don't know much. I'm like everybody, I'm limited. But I know that Adam is really specific on systems in finance and will know what is the right solution for one need. I know that Christian is really good with
mhm,
data analytics and AI and Python. I know that some other people are experts in accounting and how to use AI in accounting, and some with tax, some with audit. And I want to bring these experts with all of the finance professionals that are eager and motivated to learn how to use AI in finance, and to bring all of us together in one place where every week people get new input on what is happening, what are the best tools to use, and an explanation on how to use them and
mhm,
which one to use. And also always updates again every month about how to use ChatGPT, Bard, Copilot, what are the best way to prompt, and with some mini course in video. And also one times per month that we meet all of us in a master class. And the last one was on Tuesday, to learn together about one topic, but also at the end to reflect on how we can
mm,
use our learning and how we can use AI, and how are we going to implement that in our finance processes. And if you take last Tuesday, we had 20 people. I asked each of them to propose 3 use
mhm,
cases for GPTs. And so at the end, we came up with 60
mm,
use cases. So now, like using a group also as a way to learn from each other is also a great way
mm,
to create value. And we have also a daily chat in Slack where people exchange informations or questions. And I really feel this is also the best way to tackle everything that is happening
mhm,
right now in AI, because one person alone
mm,
cannot master it. But if you bring a group of people together, you first will have a filter, because you don't want just to share, I would say, easy and marketing AI stuff, because people will get bored from it. So you
mm,
need to bring quality. But then you also, like, if somebody picks up, let's say, the best tool to run a
mm,
reconciliation with AI, then and he shares it with the rest of the group, the 50 other members. Now we have 50 people who know what is the best tool to use
mhm,
for reconciliation. And then, like, next week, somebody will come and say, okay, I have a problem. I want to try to solve it with AI. Then we will get together with this person and see if we find a solution. And once we have the solution,
mm,
we show it to everybody. That's also what I like, is to stay next to the business and see how the recent developments of AI can help solve finance problems, and then continue to educate other people on this. And until now, it was really like I'm really surprised and positively surprised by the quality of the people who join. We have a lot of CFOs, fractional CFOs, or people that are head of accounting, and also some people that are CEOs. So that is a really good crowd that we have.
And you're getting into the territory where you've got like, you know, that hive mind group think, which is really good, and you've given some examples there. But we get into that territory of, you know, the outcome is, you know, greater than the sum of its parts, right? So the result is so it's good, you know, and yeah, still early days, but it's really exciting stuff. And it's just what is it, AI Finance Club? What's the URL?
AI-finance.club.
AI-finance.club. Okay, fine. We'll put that in the show notes as
on my LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
People can find it. But is the what I think also, if I see the program for the next 12 months, taking in consideration that we have 4 emails, and each time it's like either a deep dive, either a review or a course. So that times 12 months is already 48 topics that we are going to cover. Then plus 12 masterclass, that's 60 topics where we will really go deep inside and see what is practical for finance. And even just myself, I love to know that in 12 months on 60 topics, I will be better. And what is good as well is everybody who is joining now, it can get take advantage of what was done in the past. So you just come and already learn what already everybody discussed in the last months. And so I'm also thinking, in 2, 3, 4 years, like if you multiply that by the number of months, number of years, I don't think there is a better way to learn than having this constant pressure of delivering, but also satisfaction of helping others.
No, I think it's a really good idea. So yeah, check it out, ai-finance.club. We'll put it in the show notes. As I say, it's on Nicolas' profile. You'll easily find him. He's very visible on LinkedIn. It's Boucher, Boucher. So definitely check it out there. So we'll finish then, and this is just as a result of some of the conversations I've been having. So in the webinar that we had, and I'm sure you get asked it all the time, and in some of the posts that I've been doing over the past week, lots of finance pros are saying, what are the low-hanging fruit for me as a non-technical finance person? And my immediate response was, well, I'm not technical either. I just dive in. Yeah. But if you were to just give one thing for somebody who doesn't really know where to start or hasn't used any of these tools yet, where do you think they should start?
So what I recommend is you, during one day, you journal all of the tasks that you do. And each mini task of 15 minutes, I just send maybe an email to the department's head to ask questions or to collect documents. I prepared for my auditors an explanation on this process. Or here I spent some time solving Excel formulas issues. Or here I prepared a presentation. So you list that during one day. Then the day after, or during the weekend, like depending on how flexible you are and how motivated you are, you look at each of these tasks, and now you try to do them with ChatGPT. And you will see that some of these tasks, it's not going to help to do it with ChatGPT. But then you will see that for a lot of them, you will either do it faster, either you will do it better, meaning that you will do better than what you did yesterday, or maybe both of them. You will get faster and better results. And now, just after one day, you have your eyes open on what is possible. Now, what you do after, you don't stay alone, because we just said about it, like the hive effect and the group effect of learning. Now, with your team, you create a lunch and learn or a platform to share the best practice and what you have found. And every week, every other weeks, you meet and share on this. And if you are 5 and each of them you bring 5 to 10 use cases every week, soon you know like 500 use cases. And this is, it will generate so much value for you that you cannot stop anymore. You will be like Adam and me, you will never go back. So,
There's no going back.
that's my
Yeah,
biggest
no, that's
recommendation.
amazing, and thank you for that. And I'm conscious we did mention Copilot earlier on in the conversation, but we don't have time to talk about it now. But I suggest we do have another session. But for anybody that's interested, it will turn up in Office, I'm sure, at some point. But all we're talking about with Copilot, similar to what we've spoken about before with specific use cases for different tasks, that's what Copilot's going to be. So open up Copilot in Excel, it'll help you with Excel. Open up Copilot in PowerPoint, it'll help you with PowerPoint. But we've not really had enough time to test these yet. So maybe, Nicolas, we have another catch up in 6 months, and then we can relay our learning.
I can say a few words about it for people that are still really excited about it. What you can do, there are some people who had early access, and you can look what Copilot can do in Excel or in PowerPoint or Word. Don't look at the marketing videos, because obviously marketing videos, they are there to show that it works. It's more interesting to all of the MVPs. So the Excel gurus, they will jump on it and they will show you how you can use Copilot the right way in Excel or not. And what I've seen is it's helpful, but it's still not that fast and quite limited. What I saw when people also try that, you could see that they also were not maybe the best people at prompting. So I think combining like people like you and me who are really good at prompting plus people that are really good at Excel, we might come up with better use cases than the first people that are showing demo right now. And I think, there will be like a learning curve where you will know when to use Copilot or when to do it yourself. Like for ChatGPT, what I think it will bring is even bigger adoption from people. Like COVID helped us to be all, I would say, like digitally natives. Like you could see like our parents using FaceTime or people at work using all of the virtual conferences, meetings or chats without problems. I think this will bring that to the rest of the people who are not using yet AI in their work.
No, I totally agree. And I have seen some interesting use cases. So again, at the Microsoft conference, Guy took us through a couple of demos. So he talked about the Outlook Copilot. So he used the example of coming back after holiday and he had an email thread of like 40 emails from his team. He just used Copilot to say, can you give me a summary of this email thread? And that was quite useful. But then he didn't go into specific use cases of either Excel, PowerPoint, or Word, but he did give some interesting examples of repurposing. And I think this is where it's going to get really interesting because, of course, Copilot is connected to your Office and all of your documents. So he gave the example of having given a presentation in PowerPoint that already existed. But in that format, it wasn't good enough to present as a proposal or a technical document. So what he said to Copilot is take this presentation, so take this PowerPoint, and convert it into a technical proposal. Yeah. The results from a poor prompt were okay, but it took him 3 goes. But to come back to your point, if he'd asked a slightly better question, then I think the results could have been really good. But again, it was still slow, a lot of thinking. Yes. I think this is what Microsoft is struggling with at the moment. Don't know whether it's bandwidth, compute power, as you mentioned earlier, or stuff like that. I think that's maybe why they've delayed the wider release of it, because I think they're still ironing out some issues with its usability and its speed. But definitely something to get excited about. Again, I'm sure you'll be posting about it in the AI and Finance Club, and there'll be a ton of stuff on LinkedIn, I'm sure. I even did a post today. So watch out for it. But to be continued, I'm sure.
Yes, I'm excited to see what it can do. I think I emailed 50 Microsoft people to get a license. So if somebody in this podcast is from Microsoft and can help me get a license so I can help finance people know straight away how to use Copilot the right way, just like please give it to me. I will pay for it, but just like give me access and don't let me wait like everybody, because I need to learn myself to teach it to other people.
No, that's fine. And if any of my Microsoft connections come back to me on my questions, then I'll let you know as well. No, Nicolas, absolute pleasure. We'll leave it there, but really appreciate you coming back on again. And I'm sure we'll catch up soon.
Yeah, thank you, Adam, and continue like this, because I'm sure it's helpful for all of the finance and non-finance people who wants to keep up, but they have their daily life, they have their family, and it's really hard to know what is happening everywhere in tech and finance. And you do a great job.
Thanks
So
ever so much.
continue.
I'm not going to stop. All right, Nicolas. See you another time. Bye-bye.
Bye.